Welcome to Top 30. I'm Kristen Smith.
And I'm Richard Bacon, and here are your top 30 stories in 30 minutes.
This year's flu season has been one of the worst in years, so you've probably been thinking about ways to keep your house clean and stop the spread of germs. But there are some culprits in your closet that could be making you sick without your knowledge. Winter clothes. Charles Gerba, a microbiologist from the University of Arizona, says you should be washing these items more often than you think. Gloves are a hotbed for germs, especially if you take public transportation to work. Gerba recommends washing them once a week in hot water. If you're scared about shrinkage, skip the wash and just put them in the dryer for 45 minutes. The heat kills the germs. Most people don't wash their winter jackets very often, but Gerba says you should take it to the cleaner a few times a season. To prevent the spread of bacteria, you should always take your boots off before you come inside. And also, clean the bottoms with an antiseptic wipe at least once a week. If you keep your winter clothing clean, you just might keep yourself healthy. The 60th annual Grammy Awards are this weekend, with acts like Jay-Z, Bruno Mars, and Lorde facing off for the top prize of Album of the Year. But even if they don't go home with a trophy, they're in good company. Some of the biggest artists in music history have never won a Grammy Award.
Just a small town girl, living in a lonely world.
Rock band Journey has earned a spot in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but never a Grammy Award. Pop icon Diana Ross has no Grammys, despite 12 nominations, but she was awarded a non-competitive Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012.
Drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
Rapper Snoop Dogg has a whopping 17 nominations, but no trophies to call his own. So it just goes to show awards aren't everything.
Who is to blame when a self-driving car crashes? General Motors is being sued by a motorcyclist who says he was knocked to the ground by one of the company's autonomous vehicles. It is believed to be the first lawsuit involving an AV. The lawsuit alleges the Chevy Bolt was attempting a lane change, traffic slowed down and it swung back into its original lane, hitting the plaintiff, Oscar Nilsson. GM has been testing autonomous Bolts in San Francisco since last year. A backup driver is required in case of emergencies. This crash happened as the driver tried to take the wheel. GM points out that San Francisco police said Nilsson was trying to pass on the right when it wasn't safe. His lawyers disagree. Legal experts say investigators may rely on data from the car to determine who's at fault. The case is expected to get lots of scrutiny as lawmakers figure out how to make laws for cars with no drivers.
For the first time ever, scientists have successfully cloned monkeys, making two genetically identical long-tailed macaques. The complicated SCNT cloning technique has worked on 20 different animals in the past, but never on a primate. The Chinese scientists are hoping this will help in research for diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And the MLB announced their 2018 Hall of Fame inductees this week. Chipper Jones, Jim Thome, Vladimir Guerrero, and Trevor Hoffman will take their place in the Baseball Hall of Fame during a July 29th ceremony. Oprah has announced she has no interest in running for president, telling InStyle magazine, quote, "It's not something that interests me. I don't have the DNA for it."
The new day is on the horizon.
Looks like it just won't be under President Winfrey. And HBO's Big Little Lies just acquired some big star power. Meryl Streep will be joining Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman for season 2.
Truth is, there is no one that can do what I do.
Streep will play Mary Louise Wright, the mother of Perry Wright, played by Alexander Skarsgård.
Let's go to the New York Stock Exchange for our Fox Business Minute with your friend of mine, Nicole Pedlidis. Nicole, you are talking about a controversial lawsuit.
That's right, Richard. Grumpy Cat has won a $700,000 copyright lawsuit against a coffee company it claims breached the terms of a deal they had by launching an entire line with the internet celebrity's image on its products. For decades, U.S. Treasury chiefs said that a strong dollar was in the best interest of the United States. But the current Treasury Secretary is welcoming a weaker dollar because he believes it's good for the trade and for other business opportunities as well. Here, he's saying that a weaker dollar makes U.S. products more competitive in the global markets. Are airline price wars on the horizon? United Continental wants to add more basic economy fares to compete with other carriers. That's good news for passengers looking for cheaper tickets.
And Nicole, is this really all good news?
For airlines, not such good news. The best way to compete in this environment is for the airlines to match low prices. That would lead to high demand, but that could mean planes could get more dense and the seats could get smaller.
Nicole, airline seats getting any smaller would be a joke. Kristen, you have a story about it's a study into the effects of C-sections.
Yeah, Richard, a new study reveals babies born via C-section are more likely to be obese children and develop asthma. Researchers in Europe compared the long-term outcomes of a cesarean versus a vaginal birth in more than 29 million participants, and the results were shocking. Babies delivered by C-section were 21% more likely to develop asthma by age 12 and 59% more likely to be obese by age 5 compared to those delivered traditionally. In addition, C-sections carried a 27% increase in the chance of a miscarriage and a 17% higher risk for a stillbirth. Something to think about. In the last 30 years, C-section births have risen from 1 in 10 to around 1 in 4. Michigan State University President Lou Anna Simon has resigned amidst allegations she mishandled sexual misconduct claims against university physician Larry Nasser. Simon announced her decision in a letter posted to the university's website. Nasser has been accused of sexually abusing over 150 women and girls while serving as team physician for USA Gymnastics and for Michigan State University. Last year, Nasser pleaded guilty to 7 counts of criminal sexual conduct charges related to these allegations. Circuit Court Judge Rosemary Aquilina dramatically sentenced Larry Nasser to up to 175 years in prison before directly addressing him.
I just signed your death warrant.
Prior to that, Nasser was sentenced to 60 years in federal prison for pleading guilty to 3 federal child pornography charges. Critics claim that Simon, who held the position of president for the past 13 years, turned a blind eye to the repeated allegations of abuse. Among the accused who have spoken in support of Judge Aquilina's sentencing was Jordan Weber, the 2012 Olympic gold medalist, who tweeted, "Thank you to Judge Aquilina. Thank you to every single person that came forward and shared their story, both in and out of the courtroom. And thank you to everyone who has reached out in support. Justice was served today, and now it's time for change. Hashtag time's up."
Former CIA agents have discovered what they believe to be the location of a submarine used by notorious drug kingpin Pablo Escobar. Submarines were used by Escobar to smuggle cocaine from Colombia to Puerto Rico before they were transported to Miami in speedboats. Former agents Doug Lawks and Ben Smith are searching off the coast of Colombia for the sub and some of the millions, if not billions, of dollars Escobar is rumored to have hidden before his 1993 death. They're hoping the coke smuggling submarine will provide clues leading to the location of the fortune. Escobar's cartel supplied the United States with 80% of its cocaine in the 80s, and it's estimated he raked in more than $400 million every week. And he reportedly spent $2,500 a month just on rubber bands to organize and stack all of his money.
In the midst of battling brain cancer, a 28-year-old California woman just had her biggest wish granted. Courtney Guessford has always dreamed of a puppy shower. Exactly what it sounds like, being showered with a ton of cute puppies. Her friend Maris Loeffler knew this and was like, "We have to make this happen." So she reached out to the Front Street Animal Shelter in Sacramento, and the surprise puppy shower was in full effect. Courtney was blindfolded and led by the hand to the secret location where her family and closest friends were waiting. She was seated, and when the blindfold came off, the puppies were released, and Courtney, well, her reaction was priceless. It was a puppy pile with Courtney at the bottom, and she couldn't have been happier. She said, "This is the best moment of my life." There was so much love in that room, not to mention cuteness overload. In the middle of the biggest battle of her life, after 3 brain surgeries and a year of chemo, Courtney says those puppies were her dream come true. Courtney, our thoughts and prayers are with you as you kick cancer to the curb, and here's to more puppy showers in your recovery. This year's Oscars will have some new rules to avoid presenters opening the wrong envelope. Here's why.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
At the 2017 ceremony, La La Land was announced as Best Picture after presenters Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway were handed the wrong envelope. The real winner was Moonlight. Accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers counts Oscar votes for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. They've made some changes. The two PricewaterhouseCoopers employees blamed for last year's mix-up still work at the company, but not at the Oscars. A third person with all the winners' names memorized will be in the show's control room. All three people have to attend rehearsals to make sure they know what to do in the event of another mix-up. Stage managers will help confirm the celebrity presenters have the correct envelope before they walk on stage. The PwC accountants are forbidden from using cell phones or social media during the show. Last year, one of them tweeted a photo of Emma Stone right before handing out the wrong envelope. The Oscars are March 4th. We'll be watching to see if anyone messes up. In today's Hometown Stories from Fox 13 Tampa Bay, social media inspired one 11-year-old to make a positive impact in his community. Caleb Ruddick watched a YouTube video of people handing out water bottles to the homeless, and he decided to do his part to help those in need. Caleb started making goodie bags filled with toiletries, socks, blankets, and snacks to give to the homeless in Clearwater, Florida. Now he hands out the bags 4 times a year.
I feel happy when I help other people.
In our second story from Fox 11 Los Angeles, a cage full of chickens fell off the back of a truck driving on the 605 freeway. The incident sent them scurrying across the roadway and caused a major traffic jam near Acton, California. But thankfully, the chickens were rescued by California Highway Patrol and brought to the farm sanctuary, where they are recovering from their injuries and will live out their days. In our final story from Fox 29 Philadelphia, at age 55, Sally Kalksma is one of the fastest competitive stair climbers in the world. After she lost her husband to cancer, she channeled her grief into climbing stairs. Now she climbs 90 flights of stairs every day to train.
As more adversity hit in my life, I would take it out on the stairs.
Sally competes in some of the world's most competitive stair climbing races that scale the Willis Tower in Chicago and the Empire State Building in New York. And this year, she was the only American invited to climb the Eiffel Tower in Paris.
This summer, Nasser will launch the first mission of its kind, a journey to the sun. A small, Prius-sized space capsule will travel a whopping 450,000 miles per hour through space, eventually reaching within 4 million miles of the sun, and that is 7 times closer than any previous mission. The capsule will fly through the sun's atmosphere, called the corona, where temperatures can reach as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. To protect the research instruments inside the spacecraft, the capsule is encased in a thick carbon-based heat shield. Currently, the capsule is undergoing a battery of tests at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland, making sure the spacecraft can withstand the extreme cold of space as well as the extreme heat of the sun. The mission is scheduled to launch in July 2018.
A new study suggests smartphones could be causing unhappiness in teens. Researchers from San Diego State University and the University of Georgia studied survey responses from over 1 million teens. Kids were asked about their self-esteem, satisfaction with their lives, and overall happiness. They were also asked how they spent their time. Teens who spent more time socializing with friends, playing sports, or even doing homework were happier. Activities in front of screens like using social media, texting, or gaming were associated with less happiness and satisfaction. It's a reversal of a trend that lasted for decades. Teen happiness rose every year from 1991 to 2012. After that, it dropped. The team behind the study says that's the year smartphone ownership in the U.S. passed 50%. By 2016, at least 73% of teens had a smartphone. The findings weren't all bad, though. Teens who got between 1 and 5 hours of screen time a week were happier than those who got none. The least happy used screens for 20 hours a week or more. The study's authors said the right amount of screen time depends on a child's individual needs.
Mayors from some of America's biggest cities boycotted a meeting with President Trump at the White House this week. It was a response to a letter from the Justice Department telling 23 cities and states they have to provide proof that their police departments aren't withholding information from immigration agents. Attorney General Jeff Sessions threatened to issue subpoenas and cut off federal law enforcement funding if they don't respond. Mayors in sanctuary cities tell police not to detain undocumented people for immigration and customs enforcement unless the ICE officers have a warrant. The New York Mayor Bill de Blasio tweeted that the DOJ demand doesn't make us safer and violates America's core values. At the meeting, Trump called the mayors of sanctuary cities the best friends of gangs and cartels. But some mayors and law enforcement say the DOJ's request would make their cities less safe. It could discourage immigrants from talking to the police. The meeting was supposed to be about infrastructure. No one will remember that.
According to a study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, hot yoga, when compared to yoga performed in rooms at regular temperatures, was equally as beneficial for heart health. Hot yoga is yoga, but in a room heated to 104 degrees. It claims to flush toxins and burn more calories than regular yoga. However, study co-author Stacy Hunter of Texas State University says the heated practice environment did not seem to play a role in eliciting improvements in vascular health. Researchers split 52 sedentary but healthy participants between the ages of 40 and 60 into 3 groups. A group that practiced in 104-degree heat, another who practiced at 73 degrees, and the final group who did nothing at all. The study says yoga improves vascular health by reducing changes in the lining of blood vessels and delaying the progression of plaque buildup in arteries. So the message is clear. Do yoga. It's good for your heart.
Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth is set to make history for being the first senator to give birth while serving in the chamber. In April, weeks after the Army National Guard veteran turns 50, she'll give birth to her second child, another daughter. Previously, Senator Duckworth gave birth while serving in the House, something only 10 congresswomen have done, including Yvonne Braithwaite Burke, Enid Green, Susan Molinari, Blanche Lincoln, Kathleen McMorris Rogers, Kirsten Gillibrand, Stephanie Herseth Sandlin, and Linda Sanchez. In a statement, Duckworth says, "Brian and I are thrilled that our family is getting a little bit bigger, and Abigail is ecstatic to welcome her baby sister home this spring." Duckworth is a retired lieutenant colonel who served for 23 years in the Illinois National Guard before losing her legs when her Black Hawk helicopter was shot down in Iraq. She is without doubt someone who continues to lead an exceptional life.
The Vancouver Aquarium will no longer keep whales and dolphins in captivity. The aquarium's president said, "We absolutely believe in the value of whales and dolphins in engaging people, but you also have to be realistic, and it has gotten to the point where the debate in the community, with the lawyers, with the politicians, is debilitating our work on our mission." Concerned by the ethics of housing the large marine mammals, the Vancouver Park Board voted last spring to stop the aquarium from bringing in any new dolphins or whales. In the time since that vote, 2 of the aquarium's 3 remaining marine mammals have died, leaving just Helen, a Pacific white-sided dolphin. After months of deliberation, the aquarium finally agreed with the park and decided to end their marine mammal program altogether.
The tourism industry is growing, but not in the US. Last year, the number of trips made by global travelers went up 7%, but visits to America were down by 4%. This according to the UN World Tourism Organization. As a result, the US has lost its ranking as the second most popular tourist destination. It's been replaced by Spain. France stays at number 1. Analysts blame controversial policies on immigration introduced by Donald Trump, such as so-called extreme vetting of non-US citizens and an executive order banning travelers from Muslim-majority countries. The chief marketing officer of a travel site catering to Muslim clients said, "I think a lot of our customers avoid traveling there because of the extra hassle, or they heard from friends and relatives about the issues they had." But, you know, France is pretty good.
Why practice skiing on the frigid slopes when you can do it from inside the comfort of a heated building? The U.S. ski team is working with Striver, a virtual reality company based in California. Skiers and snowboarders are able to put on the virtual reality gear and experience what a specific run is like. Coaches say there are several benefits to virtual reality. The athletes can experience the course well before race day. Typically, they only get to ski on it once before the actual competition. The repetition gain from the VR is priceless as well, as they're able to gain valuable information about the run. Coaches can also see where their eyes are looking and make sure they're focusing on the right spots at the right time. And the VR even allows coaches to change conditions for the skier to foggy or rainy. It's just another example of how technology is helping athletes get ready for competition. Hey Richard, what's coming up on our next show?
Kristen, we're talking about how songs get stuck in your head. It turns out there is a science to making music that you cannot forget, and a reason that some songs are more memorable than others. And is it possible to get fresher food and better service at McDonald's? Former employees have advice for some customers. An album by 50 Cent made the rapper over $7 million in profit, but it was by mistake. And the story of a nurse who went above and beyond to help a new mother battling cancer. It is all coming up on the next Top 30.